Hey, what's up?
What's going on, man? That was weird. I didn't realize you had your mouse there.
Did you think it was on the by the
I
computer?
thought it was by the computer. It was weird. I heard you click, and yeah, we're rolling now.
Yeah, as usual, I am Sid,
And I'm Doc.
and we are Alien Astronauts. So this is Aliens Part 2. Now, not last week, but the week before. Is that right? Or was the...
I mean, the week
I don't know, it was one of
before.
those
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
We recorded Part 2, and it just wasn't very good.
This is Aliens Part 2,
Take 2.
2.5.
This is Aliens Part 2, Take 2. So we talked a little bit about, I think our real downfall the last episode was...
Not the last episode you heard. The first time we recorded Aliens Part 2.
Yeah, it was too planned. And so Aliens Part 1, we just had a couple talking points written down. And we both knew like a lot of the talking points that were going to come up. And we just kind of winged it. And that was really nice. And the last episode that we will not release, I kind of just over-planned shit and choreographed
we discussed it. We spent more time discussing our subject matter than we did talking about it on the episode. So, we planned a lot.
We planned a lot, yeah. And so I really think this episode we're just going to kind of wing it and hang out and just talk on this subject. And I think for a subject like this, Aliens Part 2, if you remember in Aliens Part 1, we talked a lot about the familiar aliens. From all walks of pop culture that anybody from most likely any walk of life is familiar with. And this one we're going to talk about shit that most people aren't familiar with.
And most importantly, aliens.
Yeah, and most importantly, I forgot what the fuck I was going to say. Damn it. Most importantly, things that probably don't even exist. So, yeah, let's get rolling with it.
Yeah, so remember, last episode, there were a few things we wanted to touch on that we really should have, but we realized we forgot. The one I wanted to bring up was, what if aliens are visiting us? Physical aliens from other star systems or wherever in their spaceships. What if they're visiting Earth, but they're not visiting us? What if they're visiting some other species? What if they're visiting, we talked about dolphins, whales,
They come back to talk to the dodo birds. And they're like, where'd they all go?
Where'd they all go?
You what? Where's our boy Charles Darwin at? Did he have anything to do with the dodo birds? I don't remember. Was that... I mean, no, not the killing of the dodo birds, but never mind. That's a stupid question anyways. I guess that doesn't really matter.
Perhaps the dodo bird was an example of mutated evolution.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Dude, that'd be cool. Not that even they're coming to talk to dolphins and shit, but maybe the dolphins are shooting signals out into the stars, trying to bring shit to Earth. All right, we have been the caretakers of this planet for long enough. It's time to integrate into intergalactic world life, I guess.
What if it's just dolphins on spaceships coming to visit us?
I mean, SeaWorld is just one big-ass spaceship, and it landed, and the dolphins are actually in control at SeaWorld.
Interesting. It's a lot like a Douglas Adams thing. And Mostly Harmless, I think that's the book where they find out that the Earth is an insane asylum.
Is that one of the Hitchhiker's books?
Yes, it is, yeah. But more importantly, I think, the connection with Douglas Adams is so long thanks for all the fish.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially thanks to the movie.
Yeah.
I've never even read Hitchhikers. I think I tried to once. I didn't really get too far into it. I just suck at reading. I've been reading a little bit of Stephen King recently. It's been pretty cool. Reread like Cujo. I just like the horror, man. I wonder if King's ever done a good alien horror type of thing. I'm sure he has.
I don't know. I've read more King short stories than novels, definitely.
There's some weird ass short stories, man.
Yeah.
Did you read the one about that big ass finger?
I don't think so.
It's this dude, and there's a huge finger coming out of his drain in his bathroom.
Yes.
And it has all these joints in it.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. It's awesome.
I don't know if I actually read it or you told me about it, but yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those things. You couldn't really make a novel out of that.
Yeah.
You could definitely try, and it'd probably not be very good. That's just such a non-menacing antagonist for a novel, is a long-ass finger.
Yeah.
Because if you really want to milk that for all it's worth, you don't want to oversaturate the book with the finger. You're gonna have the finger pop up in like the beginning of Act 3. It's like Cujo. Cujo didn't really flip a shit till like halfway through the book, maybe. That's one of the ones I reread.
I've been reading John Dies at the End.
It's a good movie.
I've seen the movie. Book's it's really good. It's his writing style is, he's very witty. Like he's always he hits on so many deep subjects in such a nonchalant, smart-ass way.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting. It's a good read so far.
You mean like almost like a Robert Anton Wilson type of way to like hit on shit?
Maybe, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it kind of feels like
I
Robert
read
Anton
some
Wilson
of his
mention it.
when he used to write for Cracked.com, that old magazine that used to come out.
Yeah.
I read a little bit of his stuff. It's really cool.
Yeah, Cracked and Mad were out at the same time.
Really?
Yeah.
The one thing I really wanted to bring up that we didn't really touch on too much in the last episode was the methods that extraterrestrials would use to get to us in this situation or get anywhere. We talked a little bit about spaceships, and especially when we were talking about the perception of time. You know, I mean, you have cryopods maybe. But if you live for a billion years, what the fuck is 500 years?
Yeah.
God, man, there's so much shit that almost... I mean, so UFOs, mostly you see flying saucers. That's the most iconic.
Immediately recognizable as
Yeah.
the classic UFO.
I think triangles have really taken off here recently in the UFO Watcher Society, or whatever the hell. People are seeing these weird ass triangles apparently now. Well, that's pretty cool, but that also really raises the question. So if we take all of this, at least everything that seems to have some semblance of evidence with it, and we take all that and we believe it, then it's not just one type of alien. It's a lot, and they use a lot of vehicles.
Yeah. I think
So, okay, you have that many vehicles for whatever reason you're at a place, that really two most likely things is each flying saucers, like a fucking Toyota, Chevrolet, Ford, just flying saucer mobile, or they're some sort of a military spacecraft. All these different vehicles that serve different purposes.
a fleet of some sort.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, each one, maybe this is the one that sucks up the cows. Maybe this is the one that burns your crops.
Yeah.
Who knows, man?
I think it's important to, as I guess not as a skeptic, but as a realist, it stands to reason that if the UFO sightings, if, say, 80% of those are legit, 60%, I don't care, there's a certain percentage of the ones that are legit that are really man-made. Do you know what I'm saying?
You mean like the phenomena itself is
Certain vehicles and things that have been seen. I think some of them are UFOs to us because they're unidentified. We don't know what they are, but I think there could be, governments, even our, making craft.
Weather balloons.
You know what I'm saying?
That was the old Roswell
so
thing.
what percentage of, things that have been seen and noted over the years are actual aliens?
How much still remains to be seen?
Yeah.
Hopefully an infinite amount. I don't want to ever tire up that pool of where aliens are no longer fun. What would the world even look like, man? Probably get into like time shit, time travel.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Once we conquer space, we can really set our sights on
Well, that was another
time.
thing you had brought up. I don't think you brought it up in the episode of aliens, the Greys or whatever. Specifically the Greys, I guess, being humans from the far, far future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought that up on the episode that will not be released.
Yeah.
That's actually a really cool thing, and I think it's a podcast that we both listen to, Live from Chapel Perilous with Leroy and Maz. They bring up something. I don't know if one of them came up with it or if they were quoting something. So you take Cro-Magnon man, Homo erectus, and compare it with modern day man, and the most immediately noticeable differences you're going to find are modern man has roughly pretty damn deteriorated muscle growth, a lot less hair, and a bigger head, bigger cranium. So you take a gray and a modern man, and a lot less muscle, a lot less hair, much bigger brain, and I think that's about where the similarities in there.
Yeah. Fingers.
Fingers,
Not
yeah.
the same amount of fingers, but
They do got fingers.
They do got fingers.
How many fingers are they supposed to have?
3? Or
Is that counting the thumb?
Yes. You got an opposable. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you could say 3 and they have like 2, like a pointer and a middle finger and then a thumb. Sad life, man. There's also a really cool theory I found a while ago that is that apparently some people who claim to have been visited or have interacted with the Greys have ended up hearing them somehow psychically communicating to them that they are humans from the way distant future that come to us because they now lack individuality. And so they harness strong emotions from us because nothing sells on planet future Earth quite like a little bit of hope or a little bit of panic or a little bit of jealousy or pride, anything like that. It's like catching a movie.
Any sort of intense emotion.
When movies no longer cut it, you just got to go back in time and harvest like some of the emotional responses from people.
We're all just movies for the future. Maybe they sit and watch it like Mr. Science Theater, you know?
They're all zipping around.
Yeah.
Making little puns and shit.
So I think, we've spent a lot of time here just kind of not really recapping the last episode, but touching back on things we kind of wish we had brought up.
Yeah.
But this episode is focused around the aliens, we could say, from the universe next door. I think a good way to introduce people to the concept, and a lot of people listening, of course there's probably only 3 people listening, but,
That's counting us.
Counting us. I think a lot, our audience would know what we're talking about. But I think a good thing to do for people is name some movies or books that deal with the kind of aliens we're talking about,
We're talking about right now?
That we're talking about right now.
I got one. John dies at the end.
Yeah?
All right, your turn. Tackle that shit. Bet you can't. It is such a broad thing.
I think the Arrival is kind of like that.
Was it? I don't know, man. Because they came from space.
But they did, but the way they interact with time was the way we interact with space almost. They were very alien in the sense of their reality was different than ours. The time flow and everything, they perceived things perpendicular to how we perceive things. And I thought that was a really interesting kind of a way to introduce this concept of, we might not live in the same reality as other beings. Therefore, contact and communication would be very difficult,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty good. I don't think I got another one. It was hard enough just coming up with John dies at the end, and we literally just discussed that.
Yeah. I had a really weird one.
Well, you got to say it now.
Monsters, Inc.
That's terrible.
Is it?
No, tell me why.
Because we were talking about cheesy movies or old movies that the last
time.
Talk
about fucking aliens from the universe next door. I got one. Monsters Inc. No, I gotta give you a chance. Where are you going with this?
I mean, they kind of exist in a pocket universe or a universe parallel to ours, and they can pop in and out, and that's
quite literally
through doors, yeah. And that's kind of although there's something that we can relate to. They're typically humanoid. They're
I don't know, man. There's some weird ass shit.
There are some weird ass shit. Randall was pretty weird.
He
was, man.
Crab boss. Dude, Mike Wazowski's a weird bloke.
He is a weird bloke.
He's like a fucking pea, man. Yeah, that's actually really cool. That's man, that wasn't bad. That wasn't a bad one.
I think there's a lot of anime that might deal with things like this, and I'm not that familiar with anime, but just talking with people.
Yeah, I actually got into one a little bit ago. Not too much, called Gantz, and it deals with some weird shit. I don't even know what the fuck the aliens are in it because they always change, but it's got so many of these weird qualities. Pretty good. It's just action. I don't really think the story is very good in it, but the art's fantastic. Oh, that's actually really cool you mentioned Monsters Inc. because a big part of the story for Monsters Inc. and I think a big part of the goal for it is when you're a kid and you're terrified of monsters, maybe you see Monsters Inc. and you realize, oh, they're really not that bad. And then at the end of the movie, they stop scaring people and they just start making people laugh.
Yeah.
So if you're a kid and you really believe in monsters, or maybe you're terrified of them, it can take that fear and turn it into okay, well, if they are real, they're just going to try and make me laugh. Although one of the most terrifying dreams I ever had as a child was with fucking Mike Wazowski and Sully in it. They didn't even do anything creepy. They just stared at me and that was creepy enough.
I mean, imagine, the end, they're making kids laugh. I mean, think of being a little kid in your bedroom at night and it's dark. I mean, what? When Mike Wazowski or
Sully on the stool with the microphone and he's telling a stand-up routine.
Yeah.
I don't care how the fucking weird of a kid you are. If that shit happens in the dead of the fucking night, you're gonna piss your fucking pants. Dude, I would shit myself if that happened.
How is Sully gonna walk out of your closet and make you laugh? You're gonna immediately be screaming.
Yeah, that's a pretty big plot hole, man.
One of the things I've talked about a lot with a lot of people is understanding how limited our senses are and just how much of the electromagnetic spectrum we perceive is a very narrow band,
Yeah.
compared to even what we can detect with instruments, our reality isn't all that's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just as we think space itself can go infinitely deep, maybe our fucking reality and the boundaries of our reality are infinitely wide. And just like how we only see the observable universe with our fancy ass telescopes, there's a minuscule, inconsequential portion of reality that we can ever hope to perceive as whatever the fuck. Not human beings, but just mortal.
Yeah.
No, maybe not mortal. I don't know. I don't know whatever word I was going. I think you get what I was going for though.
I think I get where you're going. I don't know. So we've got a lot of touched on some different things here. With our perceptions and the electromagnetic spectrum, we're talking about even wavelengths of light that we can't even see. And then we have things with creatures that perhaps interact with reality differently than we do, like with the movie Arrival, even with Monsters, Inc. So the aliens we're kind of talking about are things that aren't your typical space traveling alien, I guess I'm saying.
That's just one of the easiest ways to imagine any sort of life form that has remained undetected coming from. But just like we pointed out in the last episode, how fucked the Greeks would have been or not even the Greeks, how fucked humanity would have been is if the alien invasion happened before we even realized space goes deep and it's not just
not just a dome above us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There still are people that get caught up in that.
Yeah.
That's another episode, though.
Well, I mean, it's like the flat Earth shit.
That's what I was going for, yeah.
How do you know? It's much funner to believe it's not a dome to start with.
So we were talking about how fucked they would have been if they never even could conceive of the realm in which this new threat came from. I think it's really freaky when you realize there's infinite realms that things could come from that we can't perceive because we can't perceive them, and that's what makes it infinite.
If you've been blind your whole life and immediately for some reason you're healed or whatever, your perception of reality, things would make so much more sense all of a sudden of the things you were hearing. You would have a much, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, a whole different way of
Stop
interacting
bumping into
with
shit
reality.
all the time. Yeah.
And that's another thing. So even speaking of that, there's a lot of I've read a lot of occult stuff, a lot of spiritual stuff, scriptures. There's an old sort of you could look at it from any perspective, Hindu, Christian, whatever, but there's a lot of people that seem to think that at one time we had our third eye. We had three eyes. The third eye in the forehead, was wide open, and that over time lost it. So, in a lot of ways, some of these other creatures from other realms could be from what were spiritual realms, things we just can't perceive anymore, whereas the ancients perhaps could have perceived them. I think there's a whole connection with the third eye and aliens of being able, there's
I think widely accepted today what the third eye, if it was symbolism for anything, what it was symbolism for was the imagination.
Yes, that's what it is.
And it's definitely very easy to see that collectively we have changed a lot. We have grown a lot from what humanity used to be, but we have lost a bit of imagination in some way. Now we got some killer stories. We really have Star Wars and fucking Rome.
That's true.
But, you give some, take some, eye for an eye.
They didn't have the stage play, though.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking of the puppet show in, feudal Japan. No,
I
was Star Trek shit.
Honestly, I think it started in Rome.
Really?
And it went to Japan like some traders.
It went to Japan during the Ice Age.
Japan later. Yeah, during the Ice Age. I think you're right.
That's what Graham Hancock's on about, man.
That's what happened. Now we've just got to prove it.
Yeah, man. One thing I wrote down I really want to talk about is one of the most interesting stories that I have personally is, and what really set me on the path to falling in love with Lovecraftian horror is recurring nightmares when I was a kid. Now, when I was in elementary school, I was in like second and third grade. For those years, every night I would have a dream where I would get out of my bed and I would exit my room, start walking down the hallway, and even though I knew it would happen, every single time I would stand in the hallway and just scream. And out of my room, this solid black, almost two-dimensional type of being would come out, and it looked like it had no neck. It just had a lump for a head. But like I said, it's completely two-dimensional. It would run out, and it would run like the Bunyip moved in that old-ass movie Dot and the Kangaroo. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I do.
That Bunyip part was freaky as shit. It would move like that, and it would grab me and just tickle me until I would wake up. And so that really freaked me out. And it wasn't just like being tickled. It was like every single nerve in my body was just firing off like brrr, and it was really fucking uncomfortable. And it happened for about 2 years. And then one day I was just like, why are you doing this? It never fucking came back. It's fucking far out. It never came back. I've only felt that feeling like once or twice since in dreams. But then later on in life, when I was in 7th grade, I was sitting in English class one day.
You know what the thing tickling you? You know what it sounds like? One of the Monsters Inc. guys trying to get you to laugh. He's like, "No, you gotta laugh."
No, stop screaming! Stop screaming, boy! I was in 7th grade and I was looking around. I think I had like an iPod Touch at that point, and I was online on the school Wi-Fi and I was looking up some H.P. Lovecraft shit because I fucking loved Cthulhu and I didn't know too much H.P. Lovecraft. I was clicking on like the monsters, like, oh, what cool alien gods or creatures, and there was one called the Night Gaunt, and I was like, okay, what the fuck is that? I shit you not, they are solid black, not two-dimensional, I don't know why the fuck I said two-dimensional. I think that's just unique to my experience. Solid black creatures that live in nightmares, and they tickle their victims into submission.
Wow.
Which is already kind of freaky. What made it even freakier for me was it's based off of Lovecraft's own experiences with shit happening to him with night gaunts in his own nightmares. And so they, if I remember correctly, once they completely just break your willpower, they'll whisk you off in your dreams to this dreamland the night gaunts live in, and I don't know, eat you, I guess. Tickle you forever. I don't know.
Tickle you forever.
That's the real tickle monster, man.
Wow. That's a unique kind of hell.
That's a very unique hell.
I'll tickle you forever.
Yeah. It really doesn't sound that bad. You think of being tickled for eternity, that's just... I might rather burn, honestly.
You'll laugh in the lake of tickles forever. For all eternity.
Yeah, that was really fucking weird.
That is weird, man. That's pretty deep.
Yeah, there's a lot of shit to be said about, okay, you know, of course you say aliens, but, I mean, we're just talking about cool shit.
Yeah,
to deal with
we kind of
alien
are.
life forms that are alien to us.
Kind of saying these things are kind of alien. All these things we've been talking about, the dream creatures, everything, they're beings, you know?
Yeah, well... So, if you subscribe to the idea that everything we meet in dreams is a representation of something your brain's going through, that it's processing, and that's why you watch a really scary movie and maybe an aspect of that shows up in your dream. So what's kind of happening there is you're not seeing the killer clown in your dream, you're seeing the product of your brain interacting with the idea of the killer clown. And in that of itself, you're not being chased by Pennywise, you're being chased by something completely unique that you have created in your mind that is from your understanding of Pennywise.
That takes it's like Pennywise takes another form almost. Mm-hmm. But it can be a composite of a lot of different things at the same time, you know? Yeah.
So in that situation, it's not, like I said, it's not just the monster chasing you, it's your idea of what it is and what it wants and what it will do. It's really fucking with you. It's almost like something entirely new.
Yeah.
It doesn't just really carry into dreams, man. It can be anything, and sometimes it can be things that aren't even fiction. Certain things that you read or maybe take in that have a impact on you psychologically can create something entirely fucking new out of it. And, okay, it's not just A mixed with B, with A being, or A, the variable, mixed with your brain. It's the variables A plus B plus C plus D. Oh, you watch Texas Chainsaw after you ate oatmeal versus after eating pizza? Completely different nightmare. You know?
Yeah.
Completely fucking different. That's just, so to see these things as aliens.
I think also there's a lot of I'm really interested in quantum theory and quantum physics. There's a lot of things that people have ran with in quantum theory. With a lot to do with the observer created universe.
Yeah.
The implications of a lot of quantum experiments seem to indicate that by observing the universe, or at least the elementary particles, we influence them. We're what sort of gives
correct me
them.
if I'm wrong.
We're talking about photons and wave. We're talking about so there are reasons to believe that, here lately with a lot of experiments that we really do have influence on the universe, the physical universe, maybe at a subatomic level, but, and
What about collectively?
that being, yes, collectively.
Would it be at a bigger level?
I know. And that being said, there's the old thing, that says you can't see something that you don't believe in. And when's the last time you saw something that you had never seen before?
I thought you were about to, get you. When's the last time you saw something you don't believe in?
Yeah. I mean, really. But,
that's pretty good. We can get that on
how
t-shirts.
Often.
That'll be our catchphrase.
That'll be our catchphrase.
When was the last time you saw something you don't believe in? That's fucking awesome. Hey, you want to rep our beer real quick? What we're drinking today?
Man. This is some old ghoulish.
Freaky looking shit.
Yeah, it's an American lager. We've been getting some little crafty brews here lately. This is probably from somewhere local.
Still haven't tried it. I'm about to take my first sip right now.
No, this is from Connecticut, local, but
that tastes like you ever go to a bookstore and they put the stickers on the items?
Yeah.
It tastes like if you lick one of the back of the stickers.
Yeah,
And I don't mean that in a bad
I
way.
can see that.
Not at all ragging on old ghoulish. So if you remember Aliens Part 1, we had Doc's brown ale.
Yeah.
We got a whole nother 6-pack of that for the last episode.
And we drank it.
drank it all throughout the episode. Now the episode's not coming out. But we actually thought it was a really cool idea that we would have Doc's brown for both Aliens parts. But that kind of fell through. I think it's for the better, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a bad episode. But
I mean,
we were talking before we
yeah.
recorded. It was so structured and so planned out in terms of dude, we had secondary points for each main point. Or at least I did. I had 3 sub points for each point that I was wanting to talk about. Dude, if we kept doing that, we would have infinite alien episodes.
The whole point with I think podcasts in general is just a discussion. It's not like a presentation. It's like
we ain't no informative podcast.
We're not. If we kept on that track, we would have PowerPoints to go along with our. You know what I'm saying? We would have these presentations. No, can't go that far. But back to when was the last time you saw something that you had never seen before? You didn't know what to make of it. I mean, you could see a new car, you could see a new building, but it's a car, it's a building.
Yeah.
When was the last time you saw something that you had never seen before and had no idea what it was?
That's good. I don't even think I can think off the top of my head of something.
I've had instances. This one kind of put me down this train of thought many years ago. I was out hiking. I was way down a trail, probably a couple miles down the trail at least by then. And up ahead of me, I see something smoky. I see this smoky cloud.
Like a Bigfoot.
I see this dark smoke. It's like black smoke, and
Turn the fuck around, man.
It's in this. It's floating above the ground in this orb, and I'm kind of fascinated. And as I get closer, it was so quick the way it happened. As I got closer, it was a huge snake. Immediately, I thought, damn, why did I think that snake was a black cloud?
I can never tell anyone. this.
And then a little bit later, it occurred to me that was a black cloud, and it coalesced into a snake. And then that got me thinking.
You caught the black cloud off guard.
That got me thinking, like I saw something before my mind had time to show me the way, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To show me, and it was.
I think a really
it was
easy way to
interesting.
think of that would be, oh, the black cloud turned into a snake. But I think what you're getting at is, oh, my mind turned this. It interpreted
Yes.
the black orb as a snake.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Because I think it was a black cloud on some level, it was a smoke. It was smoke.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like a cloud just sitting there. It was like moving smoke. It was interesting.
That is really weird,
Yeah.
man. That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I could tell you know where I got this whole theory, the base kind of around that goes really deep. And
We'll save
we will
that
not-
for the conspiracy
Yes,
episode.
It's not a conspiracy. No, this is just a theory.
No, this is real.
This is real.
This is real life.
One of the things that I got from the experience on the trail with seeing that was I was reading a lot of quantum physics stuff. It's not something I really study because I don't understand the math behind it at all. There's a lot of it's theoretical. But I think talking about quantum things opens up a whole new realm.
Definitely, to where our perceptions or our ability to perceive completely changes something. No, I think I could be wrong on this, but I think the really interesting thing about quantum theory, especially in regards to what you're talking about, isn't this thing has properties of both A and B. When we originally thought A and B were exclusively A or exclusively B, it's not just that it has the properties of both A and B, that the actual value of A and the value of B change depending on if you're looking at it. I think everybody's probably at this point familiar with the double-blind light test.
Yeah.
Is that double-blind?
I mean, it can be. I think,
I don't know, man.
definitely.
I really struggled in.
I mean, there's
science.
a lot of variations on that. The light test. You're talking about the double slit, the single slit, and the double slit. The single slit shows properties.
The one I'm talking about is they look at it and it looks like a wave.
Yeah,
But if you're
it's a
watching
single-
it, it's
single
like a
slit.
particle or something, or
No,
vice versa.
a single for anyone that doesn't know what it is, you take a really concentrated light beam. Lasers work great for this.
But not like a flashlight.
Not like a flashlight. Well, it can work with a flashlight. You can get a sense of it.
You know those like 40,000 lumen flashlights.
You can get a sense of it, but like with a laser, you get. This is the gist of the experiment. You shine light on a surface that has a slit, like a little slit cut in it, a little, so what are you going to get on the wall behind it? What kind of shadow?
Light
Yeah, you're going to
beam.
get a slit shaped like light on the wall. The shadow of the cardboard or whatever you have the slit carved in,
The glass does not make.
all
good-
you get is a slit on the wall. Does that make sense? You get
Yeah.
a thin band of light on the wall. The real thing that this is the gist of, like, for me, quantum physics. Like, you can get a really good understanding of what's going on here just by understanding this experiment thoroughly, So that being said, if you make two slits in the cardboard or piece of paper, what do you expect to see on the wall behind it? You expect to see two bands of light.
Yeah.
That's not what you see.
Oh shit.
You see a band that goes across horizontally the wall, and it's marked. It has dark and light spots in a certain pattern. So
What that
the
pattern
first
is.
experiment, the light shining through one slit makes a slit on, like a band, like a horizontal band on the wall that's brightly lit. Just one.
Yeah. Now, where does the observation aspect come in? Because it sounds like it's just the difference in one slit and two slits.
Yeah.
Where does the aspect of your observation come in as a variable in?
Okay, the object that comes down, you take this same experiment, and we have a lot of technology now that we didn't have, obviously, back when this was first discovered. It has to do with the photons. Call them photons. Photon is a particle of light. If you can imagine that what you're seeing in the experiment is just an effect of particles or waves, you understand that in one instance it's a particle, in the other instance it's a wave. you may ask us, you may think, well, what do you guys know about aliens? You have to remember, we are alien astronauts.
We are.
We
alien
are.
astronauts.
I mean, you know.
That's our bag, man.
Yeah, that's our bag. The whole reason I'm talking about the quantum thing, the observer influence universe, is to say that perhaps alien beings are just not our consciousness doesn't know how to define them. Our consciousness doesn't know how to interject them into our world.
Yeah.
Like our minds are too closed.
You know, it's actually
and
really
too-
cool. That's actually really interesting because one thing that is very common with a lot of supposed alien, or shall I say even just cryptid encounters, is a weird brain fog, weird like mental shit happening around the time of contact with this creature. Maybe it's not the creature doing something to you psychologically as it is your brain processing so much shit that you end up in a brain fog because it's like, all right, how the fuck do I make this look like a deer? How do you know what I mean? Or something like that. But I really think it's cool. We're talking about the tying in that quantum theory to aliens, and especially just cryptids in general, which we're going to do cryptids on another episode. This is not the cryptid episode. It's kind of like when you meet someone and they're like, yeah, I believe in Nessie, I believe in Bigfoot, I believe in fairies and ghosts and giants and trolls, and you meet somebody that's like, no, that's all bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, what's the difference? They both believe it. Now, whether or not you want to argue that one is more founded in reality and evidence is completely arbitrary to the fact that we've already reached that conclusion. These people have already reached that conclusion.
Yes. And I think it kind of goes back to what we were talking, something that came up earlier. You know, it's not a conspiracy, it's real. Mm-hmm. Well, I think people a lot of times don't understand that when a lot of conspiracy buffs spend time in the world where that is real.
Yeah.
That is real.
You have to be able to entertain that and adapt your world to it, even only for given a period of time.
Now, I remember, I think it was Aristotle once said, the sign of an educated mind is the ability to entertain ideas without necessarily believing them. You know, and I think a lot of conspiracy stuff was fun back in the day for that. But honestly, when you really subscribe to any worldview that's a little bit different than what the mainstream feeds you, a little bit different than what you're taught in schools and churches and your workplace and your community, when you start stepping outside of what's accepted,
you become the developer of your own world.
Yes, you do. You do.
And that if you lack the knowledge that that's what you're doing and the ability to know where to go with that to achieve what you want, it can be a very dangerous place to be in.
It can be.
So you step out of the mainstream, you step out of your common life, and you step into something that is completely generated by you. All of a sudden you're vulnerable to all outside influences becoming key integral processes in your new reality. So if you first step into that, dude, you're reborn.
Yeah.
As a spirit, as a fucking soul, as a mind,
Yeah.
you are reborn. So if you go to work and you have a home invasion and someone steals your fucking TV and your fucking couch, and you're currently going through that can become a part of your new world, man. And those are the aliens you got to watch out for. Not living things, but the results of living things that can be alien to your ideal worldview that can really damage you. And I want to preface this. I've been thinking about should I or should I not get into this with this episode. I want to preface this by saying I am in no way equating this to aliens, and I am in no way saying that this is some cryptid fucking with your mind, man. But it's like I want to talk about emotional illnesses, mental illnesses, if you will. And I'm not talking about genetic things. I'm talking about, dude, depression is something that is easily recognizable because it is alien to how you want to live. It is alien.
You want to live.
It is alien. Where's the root at? Where does it come from? Where does it latch on? Fuck if I know, dude. Fuck if I know. And I say, don't trust anybody that tells you they do know. Because they tell you that they do know. That's another fucking alien you're accepting into your worldview. Is that, oh, this must come from here. Therefore, the only way to defeat it is through this. Dude, if you do not allow something else to define where it comes from in your life, you can defeat it in infinite ways. Imaginary bullets kill imaginary entities.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's absolutely right.
It's tying your mental zone into the real world that really takes away a lot of the power of your imaginary bullets. And once again, I'm in no way saying, dude, if you got depression, it's just like aliens from the 28th dimension.
Well, I think everybody goes through, especially emotional and mental periods in their life where I don't want to share too much of my own experience here, not at the moment, but where, your world just comes apart on you, man. It's like things didn't go how you expected, things aren't going how you like. And the depression thing, I think a lot of really creative people, it seems to go hand in hand with creativity. Now, that might not be true, but from my experience, a lot of extreme emotional and mental states, it's a thing a lot of creative people go through.
It's a result pushing a little bit too far into that imagination. Think of the imagination like a jungle, man. You got to make slow progress, because if you just get a torch and you're like, oh, fuck it, I'm going out into the dark forest, you end up in there, you don't know your way back, bam, monkey attack. Bam, tiger attack. Bam, you got a snake in your ass. Maybe not that.
Yeah.
But you got all this shit because you went out on your own when you lacked the firepower and the knowledge to know what you were dealing with. Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, yeah. So where are the aliens?
Well, I think
And I think what you're saying is perhaps perhaps we encounter aliens that we don't necessarily see, we don't feel them, we can't hear them, but they're sort of inside of us. Like, we perceive them with senses that we're never taught are senses. Perhaps our emotions, it's just another sense. You're talking about the 5 senses. Well, how do you feel emotion if that's not one of the 5 senses we have? Obviously, you have another sense that can detect emotion, that can feel it, and it's the same with the imagination.
It's a sense relative to time. I think, and as soon as I say this, you might think, well, that's stupid. I think the ability to recognize the passage of time should be considered another sense, because it enlightens all of our other senses. If you touch a hot stove and you think, oh God, that fucking hurts. Well, 2 years down the road, when you're face to face in the peak moment of your conflict with another hot stove, you're going to remember, wait a minute, I can almost still feel that pain. I can still feel that pain from when I touched the stove.
Yeah.
I can still feel not being able to do shit with my right hand.
But you're not, exactly, your senses aren't telling you that.
But you haven't touched it yet, yeah.
Your senses aren't telling you that, but you have this, you know what it feels like.
You know what it feels
already,
like. You can feel it on your hand. You can, from wherever the sense originates, cast that memory down into the palm of your hand, all the way to your fingertips, and just completely recall it of your own tuition, of your own. Whenever you're done with it, it's gone. But it's like anxiety. God, man, that's such a fucked up thing. But it's I don't want to say a good way to look at it, but one way to look at it is there's something alien to your comfort zone.
Well,
that's
but the
really
interesting thing is a lot of talking about emotional and mental aliens. When it comes to things like anxiety, depression, it can be things that, are they alien to you? If you've gone through them before many times, why are they still alien?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Just like the stove, maybe if you've gone through something before, later on you watch it. That's anxiety is also born of that perception of time. Because when you're anxious, it's usually not about something happening right now. I have a lot of anxiety, and it's always about, what if this happens? What if that happens? Dude, what if blow up or something?
Yeah. See, I won't do that anymore.
That's very good. That's good to be able to have that. And just be like, I'm gonna stop fucking doing that, man.
I stopped doing that because it took me many years to realize just how useless it was. Like, worrying about situations, trying to plan out things. If this happens, does you no good.
one thing, especially if you're going to go down the route and maybe accept that the things that are negatively impacting you are alien to you, you're going to want to fight.
Yeah.
But how do you fight? How do you go on that battlefield and face down your enemy when you got to go to work in the morning, dude? How do you face that when you, I got to do laundry. I got to drive. I got to pick the kids up from school. I got to go to work. How do you do that, man? You automate that shit. Just like you'd automate a music track, get you a fucking imaginary friend.
That's a good,
Develop something, some sort of defender within you. Spend a little time. You know what a tulpa is? It's not, fuck it. Imaginary friend. Spend some time with
Your
that.
imaginary friend is an alien.
Is an alien, essentially, but it's an alien that you are comfortable with because you've been there since it was fucking growing.
Dude, it's the exact same as the guardian angel.
It's the exact
same. I mean, even going through like Golden Dawn stuff, like Crowley stuff, like it's that's your guardian angel, for lack of it. That's your spirit guide. That's your
spirit guides, man. I think all world religions, all spirituality is just some different people's ways of coming to terms. Once you glimpse what the inner world is like, coming to terms with all that shit.
Well, I think it's
it's a lot harder than coming to terms with this is a tree. Once you really get inside that jungle of the mind, dude, that's where a lot of that can come in handy.
Well,
it's useful for that.
The biggest conspiracies of all times, the biggest conspiracy theories of all time are religion.
That's fucking great.
I mean, you know,
that could either be
it's
a
like
Robert Anton Wilson or a George Carlin quote.
Yeah, actually, it could be. That's mine. But no, it's
wow, man, that's
it's
great.
mine. But it's kind of George Carlin's thing was the biggest bullshitters ever.
That's fucking bullshit. Fucking,
you know, is
God
religion,
is a
but
conspiracy.
But talking about a conspiracy as being something that you can adopt as a way of viewing the world, if you look at it that way, as a way you choose to view the world and the way you want your world built, religions are the biggest, most successful, most money-making conspiracies ever.
yeah. But let's say you're in that jungle, man, and all of a sudden you found yourself hiding out in a place you don't know how to get back to your comfort zone. That shit can be pretty fucking helpful. Religion, and I don't want to sound down on religion. I especially don't want to sound down on Christianity or anything. Me, myself, I don't consider myself very religious, but I will say, dude, for a lot of people, when you hit what you think is rock bottom and you think you can't go any lower, to accept something can pull you out of that. And I think a lot of people have gotten out of shit using spirituality to any degree.
Well,
if you end up in a really bad spot, it's the same thing. You could recognize what your karma is in life, what your fucking dharma is, man. Like, I'm meant to do this. I think I'll do it, and there will be no obstacles.
I think it needs to be said that what we're saying here is people that believe different than you, people that have different worldviews. I've heard so many times people being made fun of, like, not to their face a lot of times, like that happens in middle school and high school, but you know, when you get out in the real world, like, there's a lot of stuff you have to be careful about. You know, a lot of people don't, but hearing people talk about other people behind their back, say if they happen to be like where we live, there's quite a few Mormons, but it's a primarily just Protestant community, and so you get to see what people think of other people that kind of believe what they believe.
Yeah.
And
I think I'm having a fucking something.
What I'm getting at is when someone sees the world in a different way than you do, it in no way means they're wrong, and it doesn't mean you're wrong. It's
all fucking quantum, dude.
You have the ability to choose how you want to see the world, and maybe one of the problems here with the alien thing is first contact is going to come when we as a collective species have the ability to accept that there are star nations, that there are beings that we just have to let into our reality.
And I'll fucking promise, man, when that happens, when we encounter an alien life form for the first time, the real alien won't be that thing sitting in a spaceship. The real alien will be what's happening inside of you as you're coming to terms with the scope and the nature of reality. That'll be where the real conflict happens. That'll be where the real shit starts to get a little haywire.
Individually. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
And one thing, you mentioned Mormonism, and I'm not ragging on Mormonism.
It's not. It's yeah.
Is that? Did I say that right? Latter-day Saints.
They're Latter-day Saints.
Okay, yeah.
They consider they're Latter-day Saints.
So they don't like the word.
You don't like to.
Mormon.
To call
Is
them
that right?
Mormons is kind of like calling your typical Protestant Christians as Biblers. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah,
the Book of Mormon
yeah.
is their book, but
We're
they're
talking about the
Latter-day
actual
Saints.
book, not the Matt Stone and Trey Parker play. That's the dude
Yeah,
from South
yeah.
Park, right?
Yeah, it is.
They
did,
wrote
yeah.
Book of Mormon.
And
yeah.
I've heard it. It's really good.
I've never heard it. I think I saw a little bit of it on YouTube once, but I digress. So I was talking a while ago about what you can do internally to help yourself out of some situations by piggybacking on some other.
How to fight the aliens internally.
How to fight that shit internally, yeah.
Or to make friends with them.
Or to make friends with them.
Yeah, I think making friends with them
Or
works.
to make love to it, man. Dude, that's
I like fucking imaginary aliens. There's like nothing quite as satisfying. It's like once you, yeah.
It's like somehow they know exactly what I like, man. I don't even have to tell them that shit. I save myself the embarrassment from telling my imaginary aliens my kinks because they already know, man. That's fucking badass. I wanted to say, in terms of accepting things, that also gets a very dangerous territory because if you're dangling on the edge and you're gonna reach out to any hands that are aimed at you, you gotta be careful because some things can be very detrimental to you. And I think that's why we get a lot of people who are kind of these uber conspiracy nut job, like really hateful people.
Yeah, really.
And you're not a nut job if you're into conspiracies, but if you're fucking hateful and you're terrified of everybody around you, you're kind of a nut, man.
Yeah. I mean, honestly,
you have to be careful of these alien influences that change your current worldview for the worse.
Yeah.
If you turn on the TV and it's some news channel and it makes you really scared.
Yeah.
And it makes you really angry and really hateful and fearful.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
you
agree.
shouldn't really
I
fuck with
agree.
that, you know?
I agree. And I agree by saying that with conspiracy things, with worldviews, if it doesn't make your world funner, if it doesn't make it more, lively, then look for something else, man. Like there's plenty.
Change your
There's
channel.
plenty.
Change your channel.
Yeah, change your channel. There's plenty of conspiracy stuff out there that is, I don't want to use the word lighthearted. It's very serious, but it changes. It makes you less angry. It makes you less anxious.
Yeah.
It makes you. I'll just throw this out there. Urantia. And
did we talk about Urantia a little bit on the
maybe in the
Aliens Part
last,
1?
maybe a little bit, but the book of Urantia, the Church of Urantia.
And you've shown me. You have a Urantia.
Yeah, I
book.
have.
You've shown me
I do.
a little bit.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's kind of the whole Jesus thing, but with aliens. I mean, literally. That's and you can think they're wacky, they're whatever. Dude, it gives them a positive spin on how to see the world and to open themselves up to
You can
a
think
greater potential of possibility. Like they're aliens.
I like that potential of possibility.
Yeah.
That is, I like that, man. And I think, dude, no matter what you settle on as a person, as whatever you are inside, no matter what you settle on, if it makes you happy, fucking go for that. And if it doesn't directly make other people unhappy, fucking go for it, dude.
I agree.
But be wary. So everything that you enter will have the enemy. Everything has an enemy. Everything has an
an enemy.
opposite.
Yeah.
Some things
For
are
the
more
most
friendly
part.
to their opposites. Some things exist naturally with their counterpoints. But you really have to watch because certain things will try and tell you who the enemy is.
Yeah.
That's a really dangerous thing. If you're subscribed to something that tells you this is your enemy, these are your enemies, just be a little bit critical of that. I'm not saying it's full of shit because I'm sure there are some circumstances where that would come in handy, But if something is directly trying to tell you what the good guys and bad guys are, don't fuck with that. Don't fuck with that. And if you get into something that deals in very local, very easy topics, such as people around you who are in certain political ideologies,
certain religions, yeah.
Dude, that's easy as
Well,
shit.
I mean,
man.
and
you
Robert-
need to get into something that influences you deeply.
Yeah.
You go deeper. You go
Yeah.
deeper than that.
Robert-
And it might not feel like it at times because these things also have a tendency to shut these things out. To shut these things out to say, this is your enemy. Don't go any deeper. That's what the lizards want you to do.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That sounds a little fucking
Well, anything
uh,
you say
lame.
that makes a
A generalization.
a generalization about anything you say that makes a generalization about any group of people is by default wrong. You cannot make any generalization about any group of people. But individuals, yeah, you can. But there are different types and varying degrees of people that are of any school of thought, any religion. You can't make generalizations. You have to interact with people as individuals. And I think that's where people they have a problem. They have a disability to disconnect.
Yeah, they
from,
think, oh, this
you know,
10% of your personal
It's
identity
like-
is directed towards this.
Well-
Oh, you must be an absolute scumbag then.
people they cannot disconnect from seeing this larger idea of a group
As
and
an
the individual in front of them. They're not the same, you know? Well, I don't know. I don't know where I'm going with all that, but we're just kind of discussing aliens. And I think we've been discussing alien psychological phenomena. Yeah.
Wow, man, yeah.
You know, the whole alien, unfamiliar alien. So you start talking about subatomic things, and maybe there are subatomic worlds, and it's like it's very interesting because entities could come from the subatomic realm into our realm. You know, that comes from reading a lot of Micronauts, I think, old comic book
Well, it's
series.
comic books. I think I had.
But you know,
like one or two of the. Were they kids?
no, they weren't kids.
Oh.
You're thinking Power
Never
Pack,
mind.
maybe.
I'm thinking of the Power Pack.
thinking of Power
that's,
Pack.
That's exactly it. Yeah, I have one of those.
Yeah. I remember in Douglas Adams, one of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy books, there was an alien empire that had spotted us, and they were coming to Earth to take over, set up rule. So they sent their entire fleet here.
Oh fuck.
But they made a gross miscalculation with scale. Their entire fleet came here, and it was eaten by a poodle.
Oh no.
Because they didn't understand the scale of things and like how things are different from you know. Yeah, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I like that. You know, it's a cool thing to. How alien are the aliens? I guess. Well, maybe size
Yeah.
is complete. Scale's completely different.
Yeah, and the
I
dangerous thing, man, if you don't have the ability to counter something that comes from within you, then you're gonna get screwed over by something from within you, man.
Yeah.
No matter how many nights you've had good camping, eventually there is gonna be something a little freaky happen. And if you didn't pack your necessary tools to deal with that, gonna be in a bit of a pickle.
Yeah. I think some of the necessary tools to take out when you're out camping a lot is some sage, some feathers, preferably hawk or eagle feathers. Yeah, some stuff to bring some good mojo, and also a 357 Magnum. It's all, I mean, I'm just saying. It's
Take
also-
care of the bad mojo.
No, it's just, you know, you've got spiritual defense and you've got physical defense. You know, it's just you got to have a balance
Got
between
fortitude
the two.
on all fronts,
There,
man.
there you go. You know.
Gotta have that quantum sense of reality where the threat and also the pleasure lies in both the physical and the, dare I say, spiritual. So I figure now's a good time to mention we had the Old Ghoulish we were drinking. I wasn't really a big fan of that.
Yeah.
So now I got a little Harpeth Bison Vienna Lager. Harpeth sounds like a band that would open for Opeth.
Harpeth.
Folks. Harpeth.
That's
was
pretty
a harp
good.
noise.
Well, you failed to mention we were also drinking Steal Your Space.
Yeah, Steal
It's
Your
a-
Space.
It's a brew. Is it out of Nashville?
I don't know if it says. Is it even from
Cherry Street Brewing.
Cherry Street Brewing? Yeah.
Actually, it's in Chattanooga.
Bro,
the North
once
Shore.
again, I think that's a really
Wow,
far, man.
that's
It's
interesting.
like
It's a cool can. It's pretty much the Steal Your Face. It's the kind of a deep.
oh, it is a Grateful Dead can.
It's a Grateful Dead can.
It's
definitely.
a beautiful can. It's really good. I like it. It tasted good. It's a little sweet for my taste in it, but it's also kind of high gravity.
It's high gravity. It's kind
for
of
me. It's
yeah,
like
me
8
too.
point something. I'm usually a 4 point to 5 point type of.
And once again, it's an IPA, and there's so many IPAs out there. I get sick of IPAs.
Yeah, this Bison is a Vienna lager.
Yeah,
Vienna.
it's a light.
Yeah, like the sausages. It's really good. But you wanted to get into.
Well, we were talking. You brought up the spiritual side of things, and I think something we haven't really broached here. We haven't really broken into this territory, but it's shamanism. Now, I wouldn't consider myself an expert on this by any means, but I have spent some time with some shamans. There's a whole different realm of reality that shamans interact with that is spiritual. They're interacting with spirits. They're interacting with entities that are beyond our normal realm of perception. And I think with the subject matter and what we've been talking about, it really makes sense to mention the spirit world, if you will.
Definitely.
The idea, and in today's society, spirit entities and spiritual forces are something that we would not necessarily consider mainstream at all, but
Very easily something that we would neglect.
something we would
Take
neglect.
care of.
Yeah. But for all of human history and the history of civilization, this development of not really thinking spiritual stuff was true as far as spiritual entities, of not thinking there were animal spirits and things, that's only came about in the past couple hundred years, maybe 300 years.
They're definitely in the mainstream.
So for thousands of years, the medicine man, the shaman, was a revered member of society. Who are our modern shamans? Who are our modern people that have a connection with the spirit realm? And I hate to say it, what do you have? Televangelist?
Yeah.
Is that our modern day medicine man?
What do you have? Televangelist? You have your neighbor that's really into essential oils and stuff. It's pretty damn drab, and that's just a side effect, a byproduct even of not tending to that landscape. Really,
I mean, I personally have partaken in ceremony. I've been in sweat lodges, and I will tell you, there are spirits of the animal kingdom. There's a whole different frontier there that we've, like you said, neglected. We have forgotten it, but it's still there.
more importantly, we've forgotten our deals with
Yeah, we've made
We've
made
destroyed
contracts.
entire
We've made contracts.
species.
Yeah.
Maybe that's an easier way for some people to think of it. You're thinking, what do you mean by the spirit of the animal? Think of an entire species that has gone extinct, killed the entire species, yet that entire species is the spirit of this animal.
I understand that.
Or whatever the
I think
denomination is. The
I
class
try to
phylum.
give humankind benefit of the doubt in saying we haven't knowingly and intentionally destroyed entire species. I mean, we are trying to survive, and we are building our own world. But I don't think anybody sets out to destroy a species.
Yeah,
and I
definitely.
think just
Hopefully not.
knowing that we have this impact on the world around us, it has tempered us somewhat. Once we've realized this, although some people are very adamantly against the idea that we're having a negative impact on our world, I mean, we are having a negative impact on our world. And we've got to accept this. Now, we haven't done it intentionally. Was it anybody's idea to make sure microplastics were in everything? No. Nobody set out to do that, I don't
That's a
think.
good point.
But it is, I hope, I don't know. But there is a spiritual side, especially to the natural world, that is easy. And I say easy, go out for a walk on a trail. Just you. Go out and spend like an hour on a trail with no one else around. And you will see a connection with nature that is very easy to make.
Once again, probably something that you have neglected before.
Yeah.
And just like the microplastics, maybe you didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
And it's not bad, but it feels really good to get back in touch with that.
It does. It really does. And an important point to bring up here is something that comes from years of counterculture, maybe. I think Robert Anton Wilson, Timothy Leary used to hit on this back in the day. I think William Gibson does a great job with Neuromancer in showing us that there are tech spirits. There are spirits and there are entities that are based on current popular media, that are based on digital realm. There are spirits there also, you know, like you know what I'm saying? There are entities there.
And the spirit therein, when you view the popular world as a spirit, the spirit itself is not something abstract to you. It is how you encounter this. It is not how some unknown way it materializes. The spirit is within its interaction with you. It becomes a part of your spirit, your interaction with it. That's all we are built upon. To quote live from Chapel Perilous with Leroy and Maz, my favorite podcast.
Shout out to Leroy and Maz.
Shout out to my mans Leroy and Maz, because they do an excellent job. And
live from Chapel Perilous
with Leroy and Maz.
Leroy and Maz.
I don't want to be a nothing butter on this, but really your experience and the entirety of what you believe others experience to be rests solely in the interactions with the outside world, what you perceive to be outside influences on you. That's it. You never recognize it for what it is. You only recognize its bridge to you. As your little tendrils of imagination stretch out and make contact with this other being, what you know is your interpretation of it. What you know is the face, one of the potential many facets that you have encountered.
What you know is how your mind represents it, the symbols your mind uses to embody this entity.
And it's up to you to determine why your mind might have certain unsavory reactions to it. Fear, disgust, contempt, love, joy, humor. Loathing. It's up to you to determine why you have that connection. And it's a bridge between everything.
Not necessarily, definitely why you have that connection and why you perceive these things in this way. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's a good point to make. We choose our own world and how we perceive it and how we interact with it.
You develop it.
You build it.
And it is so easy, as we stated earlier, in terms of the natural world. It is so easy. It is almost comically easy to neglect to realize that you ultimately inside you are the one. You are the chosen one inside of you. You are the creator. You are the spirit. You are everything. But if you neglect your duties, you damage what you are in this world. You damage what the external world is to you. You really got to take good care of what's inside of you, man.
Yeah, you do. And it gets really deep. It gets really occultish, spiritual, as above, so below, as within, so without. I mean, there's so many ways.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's a great, that is a great thing to bring up there. That's exactly what I was going for with that. As above, so below.
Yeah.
And also as below, so above.
Yeah. I think that is something that man has struggled with for millennia.
For eternity.
For millennia. We have struggled with that. And I say millennia because you can find writings from people that have struggled with the same thing.
And some of the best fucking art, in my opinion, some of the greatest shit that I love is born of that struggle. That has been the foundation for everything mankind has done. Mankind's struggle to remain relevant throughout a changing reality, throughout time. Despite the fact that the inevitable heat death of the universe, the inevitable stars all dying, and the heat death of the earth, why are we doing this? Because on a certain level, we don't exist all throughout time, we exist now, and that truly is present. Just like it's called the present. By existing now, we don't care that in however many million, billion years, it'll all be for nothing, man.
is the universe will die and the universe will spend the majority of existence alone. It doesn't matter because we're right here, right now. We're breathing this shit. We're feeling this shit. So have fun while you can and don't worry and don't stress yourself out by consuming things that make you angry.
Yes.
That make you scared. That make you hate people.
Program your world, and at the same time, is there a balance between stuff that makes you love people and stuff that makes you hate people? You know, I think we all have a they, and I think we're going to do an episode.
We are going to do an episode on this.
They.
Who's the they?
Who's the they?
Oh,
And we
they're
will
trying to do this. Oh,
Yeah.
did you hear what they did?
Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
What they're really doing is this.
Yeah.
Well, who the fuck is it, man?
Yeah, we'll do an episode on that.
How much of your reality exists inside of you and the connection that you have to its influencers? I think that's a really cool thing to examine. And unfortunately, for me, that is because I can't tell you the methods that you can use for offense and defense and maintenance here. But it's better for you because that means, dude, the entire rules of the universe are in your hands. How the universe works, how the world works, how big and small everything is, how important and not important everything is all completely up to you. And as daunting as of a task that may seem, it's really fun, and you really get a lot more freedom when you do that. You think of it like, it can be dangerous, and a lot of times because you might design a world to those who are around you versus you might design a world that is mutually great for fucking everybody. I think that's a really good goal to shoot for, maybe. I think it is. It's design something that is good for everybody around you.
As far as intention, I think I don't know if I'm quoting Neil Peart or not, but he may have taken this from someone else, is what I'm saying. But,
I don't know if I'm quoting Neil Peart, but modern day warrior, mean stride. Today's Tom Sawyer, mean pride.
No, his mind is not for rent to any god or government. He
deserves a quiet defense.
Writing out the day's events. The river. Neil Peart once said in a song.
Neil Peart being the drummer and lyricist for Rush.
Oh, yeah.
One of my that's my number 2 favorite band of all.
In one song, he said, folks are basically decent. And he's so right. The everyday person you're in Walmart with, you're in the grocery store with, that you work with, man, folks are pretty good. They really are. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people. Think of the people you're around every day. And how many of these people wouldn't hesitate to run into a burning building to save a baby? By God, a lot of people would, you know? And I think there are those exceptions. And since the world has a much larger population, it's growing. There are more exceptions. But I think for the most part, damn, the people around you are good people.
I think a lot of the conflict in today's world, and especially the conflict we go through as individuals, resides in the fact that even 100 years ago, before the advent of the internet, we still had newspapers. We still were caught up with what the other states and the other countries were doing. Not the other worlds. I almost said the other worlds. We're not.
Well, some of us were.
Some of
us were.
Some of us were.
Yeah. Now I'm more likely to read
we had
local
a
news.
lot less shit to compartmentalize. When you were going through the generalization of people, you had, Loretta's really nice. She owns the grocery store. Oh, this family's really cool. Oh, my priest is really cool. Oh, the main doctor, the eye doctor's really cool. Dude, now you are constantly, with the power of the internet and especially phones, something that many people probably wouldn't be able to go without. And I'm not saying, you can't go a minute without your phone. I'm saying it's almost a necessity in today's world to have all this.
Yes.
You are constantly in connection with, what is it now, 8 billion other people? 11 billion? I don't know. It's some fucking billions of people.
I mean, world population, you've got, I think it's beyond, just hit 8 billion recently.
have to compartmentalize a lot of shit, and there's no way to keep up. There's no way to keep up with this many people. There's no way to think, oh, well, this group must be like this because of what the other people in the world think about them. Nah, man. Would you trust somebody else's assessment of these people more or at the same amount that you would trust your barber talking? If you get a haircut, maybe your haircut person saying, oh, these people suck. It's
Well,
like, yeah,
and
cut my
when
hair.
when people that were around, people can be aliens. How many people are you around that live in a completely different world than you do? It's just a lot of people don't realize this. They think everyone lives in the same world they do, and they can't understand why people don't see this or this. Well, it's because they don't live in that world.
Yeah,
You know,
definitely.
they don't see things that way. And a lot of times, I mean, how many people are you around daily that live in a world where
where you are the alien.
you are the exactly. I mean, do you beckon to the lords of chaos in moments? Do you like transcend the world you live in? Think it's just
I think everybody.
I think
in
everybody
some way.
does. They just have different words for it and different ways of relating to it.
Terminology will be your downfall.
Terminology will be. Yeah.
Shit, man, I got almost
I don't
nothing
know.
left to say on that, dude. I think, I think we really covered a lot of ground today. Talked about aliens a little bit. I think we might have touched on time travel earlier.
Talked about aliens a little bit. It's pretty funny because this is supposed to be Aliens
On
Part
Aliens
2.
Part 2, we talked about aliens a little bit. We talked about a lot of shit.
We talked about
we just called it all aliens.
psychological and spiritual aliens
and so that's
a
why
lot.
if you noticed on the YouTube channel, on my YouTube channel, Space Station Sid, I put Aliens Part 1, The Familiar. I figure this part will be for unfamiliar. For a lot of people, this is a frontier that you've never envisioned the threat could come from or the benefit could come from. And I think we really did that, man.
I think maybe you're right. I think maybe you're right.
I think maybe you're right. I think I am right. Yeah.
I think you're right. And, yeah.
Shit, dude. Yeah.
But you
this
know
is,
something we really need to touch on again before we end this episode?
Let's do it.
Monsters Inc.
Monsters
What-
fucking Inc, man.
I mean,
Monsters
how did that
Incorporated.
even? How did
Monsters
that
Incorporated
even
for the
become,
uninitiated.
How did that even become such an important part of this episode? But it did
Oh,
for some
man.
reason.
I think because it deals a lot with the childhood. As a child, your perception of these things being, it's both fearful and humorous. And even when it was fearful, even when it was full of terror, they weren't there because they loved scaring you. They were there because it's what they thought they had to do.
That's what they thought they had to do. That's interesting. Yeah, that's good. Because the end, every day-to-day life, those monsters were, for the most part, some pretty good people,
Yeah.
man. They
You
were
saw the
basically
movie, yeah.
decent. They were basically
If you haven't
decent.
seen the movie Monsters Inc., the first one, you
Yeah,
really
it
need to
is
watch
really
that shit
good.
because it's
Yeah.
fucking great. That's one of my
Kitty.
favorite movies. Kitty, yeah. Yeah, it's just a great fucking
It
movie.
is a great
man.
movie.
It's fucking phenomenal, man.
And-
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's just, it's. I had to bring that back up because it's so weird that
that's what we
of
fixated
movies,
upon. Yeah.
of movies and
Of all
of
art forms that we could have
modern
settled on.
modern media, the depiction of the unfamiliar aliens, we ended up
with Monsters Inc. Yeah,
Fixating
that
on
ended
Monsters,
up
Inc.
doing the job perfectly. Yeah. Shit, man, I am out of topics. What
and
you got anything else you wanna touch upon? I'll take that as a
No. You gotta give me a minute.
Okay, yeah.
We're just talking about aliens. I think we've touched on.
Well, how about
a lot
this?
of,
While you're taking a minute,
yeah,
I'll address some shit.
yeah.
So you might notice when you're listening to this, the audio quality has improved substantially. And if you didn't notice, then oh well. But if you have noticed, it's because I got another SM57, which is really helpful for recording shit. So now me and Doc both have our own SM57. Before this, we were using a condenser mic and an SM57. SM57 was great. Condenser mic, not so much for the podcast. It's been really great. I want to say if you listen
listen to this, you please comment. Tell us maybe if you got some topics you want us to cover in the future. Don't worry about it. This isn't a plea for help. We got plenty of topics, but priority goes to the fans. If you got a topic you want us to cover,
And
let us know.
our patrons always get like first dibs on stuff.
Always get first.
They get shotgun.
Now we don't have patrons yet.
Get shotgun.
Patrons get that passenger seat, man.
Yeah.
They get the auxiliary cord, if you know what I'm talking about.
And if you are a top tier patron, yeah, you get to do the playlist. You get to control the music, and that's more important than driving, honestly.
Yeah, you control the temperature too.
Yeah.
Yeah, please let us know. I want to give a real quick shout out to I had it pulled up. So, of course, this is our third episode we're recording right now. I want to give a real quick shout out to two very important people in our entire process here. Two listeners, Caleb Fowler and Empyrean Blackthorn, for being totally awesome people who decided to comment on this and give us some really cool shit to think about and talk about. So you guys fucking rock. If you got anything you want us to talk about, let us know.
Two upright dudes, man.
Two real stand-up fucking people, I'm telling you.
I think something I would just like to close on is the idea that the imagination is a doorway to other worlds. And so what does that make an imaginary alien?
True fucking alien.
It is an alien.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's great. Be thinking about that. I want to give it a little bit of homework for those listeners.
Imagine your alien.
Imagine your
alien. Imagine an alien that you can have some sort of relationship with.
Make an imaginary friend. There you go. It's all the validation you need to do it. Imaginary friends, you're on it. We hope you have one by the next episode. I think that about wraps it up, man. You cool with ending right here?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm cool. You might have to take out the Jesus is my imaginary friend.
Well, I did a little song there.
Yeah, you did.
So if you haven't seen, if you look at my YouTube description, there's a topic labeled Promise in the description of my profiles, that being Space Station Sid. That promise is, if you are an unheard of musician, and you are most likely an unappreciated musician, so the promise as it stands is, if you send me an album of your making and you're an relatively unknown musician, then I will listen to it all the way through and I'll get back to you on it. And I might not have the best advice and I might not have the best tips for improvement or what I like the most, but I will talk to you about your album.
You have a good ear.
I have a good ear,
man.
You
have a good ear.
That's what I tell people.
Yeah.
I only listen to the good shit, man. I talk about music with people. I only listen to what's
I don't
good.
know. He listens to some bad shit too. I'll just tell you that, okay?
Name one bad thing I listen to. Let's go ahead and get into that.
We're not putting me on the spot like that.
We're not putting you on the spot like that.
I mean, honestly, to be honest, I don't care for Cannibal Corpse much.
I fuck with some Cannibal Corpse. I don't think.
I appreciate what they are and what they did for extreme metal, but I just don't jam with them that much, you know.
I get you,
just
man.
Can't, yeah.
I totally get you. I think you also don't care too much for Pig Destroyer. I fuck with some Pig Destroyer. Pretty heavy. I think that's one of the greatest poets, the singer Hayes, J.R. Hayes.
And I don't really jive with G.G. Allen, man.
Now, hang on. You kind of make it seem like I jive with G.G. Allen.
you seem to. Come on, man. The listener's going to hear us throw down here.
We're going to throw down right after this episode ends. We're going to get in a fist fight. No, I'm just fucking
If we're talking about Gigi, I'm throwing some shit too, man.
If we're talking about Gigi, I'm taking a shit. I'm going to take my pants off. Yeah, this has been a great episode, you know.
It's been a lot of fun. I'll say that.
It's been a lot
Whether
of
it's
fun.
great or not, I don't care, but it really felt great.
Yeah.
It felt great.
Yeah.
And that's important.
So yeah, please, if you like this video, feel free to reach out to us, please, because we're all ears. We have absolutely nobody reaching out to us pretty much at this moment, so if you want to, then please do. Feel free to subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, whatever you want to do. I'll probably respond to you if you leave a comment.
You could lick the video if you wanted to.
You could lick the video. That would really benefit us.
Honestly, for me
personally,
I would take it as a great compliment.
I would take it as a great compliment.
I mean,
every time someone licks their screen while watching Alien Astronauts, I get a little like jolt of like a spiritual power through my toes to the tip of my you-know-what. And it really does a lot for me. So we're probably gonna hope that you lick your computer screen.
Yeah,
while
or
listening to this. At any
your
point.
handheld device, your phone.
Yeah,
Lick your
handheld
phone, man.
device, yeah. Lick your phone. Do it now.
Lick your phone.
Do it. There you go.
Yeah, that felt good.
That felt good, didn't it? Okay, yeah. That's about it, man.
Yep. So we're finished with Aliens for now.
For now.
We might do another episode on Aliens.
I'm glad
but
you brought that up because I did want to say this is the end of Aliens for now. This is not the end of Aliens eternally, perhaps, because in the future we might want to do a part 3 on something if it ever crosses us. But once again, please leave in the comments if you guys got any suggestions for topics. Then you get first dibs even before us. If you guys want us to talk about something, now we're not going to talk about something like race car drivers. So if you pick that, we're not going to talk about it because I don't really have a lot of shit to say on NASCAR without getting really out there with
about
it.
Formula One.
I don't know about Formula One, man.
Yeah.
Gran Turismo, all that shit. Maybe we can talk about the big Gran Turismo.
No race cars. And
No race cars,
No
no
sports.
sports.
No
Fuck
really.
it.
No politics. Like
Yeah,
no
politics. You know what I think, and I really like. I'm not really outspoken on my politics, but I think if you listen to me and my music, then you probably have a decent idea of where I stand on shit. And I kind of like to operate like that. I'm just going to give it to you straight. If you know, you know. If you got an idea, then you got an idea, and that's about it. So this has been an excellent episode of Alien Astronauts. Stay tuned till next time. We hope to see you again on the next episode, which is yet to be decided. Stay tuned till next time, and we'll see what's what.
Doc out.
Sit out till next time, Duck.